Caleb Williams, I made the comment at halftime because he was talking about it all week about how he was built for these moments. There's been a lot made of that 4th and 8 throw that he made, running to his left, feet not on the ground. The amount of velocity this guy can generate on a football when he is on the move is something I have never seen before. It is unbelievable. Welcome to Fitz and Whit. I'm Fitz, that's Whit, and this is a Wave original. And yes, we're both wearing black long sleeve shirts today. For some reason, yours looks better on you than mine does on me. Whit, subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget to give us 5 stars and follow the show on social media at Fitz and Whit. That's Fitz A&D Whit. New episodes every week. And today, Beardos, it's your lucky day. Starting this week, you'll be seeing us twice a week throughout the playoffs. Yeah, we're getting bored. We're done with TNF. We need to give you guys more content, more interviews. I hope you're looking forward to it. Whit, let's tell the good people what we have on tap for them today.
All right, Fitz, this episode is presented by Rotel. Coming up, we'll recap an insane wildcard weekend.
All right, well, let's get into it. Let's start with Rams-Panthers. So this was awkward for us. We obviously had a game to do as well on Saturday, and we decided we were going to get over to the stadium early. We're at Soldier Field. We're huddled in the green room watching Rams-Panthers. Wait, you got a little quiet during the game. You kind of got up. You were pacing the room a little bit. I think you had 6 pieces of that deep dish, just eating your sorrows away during the game. What'd you think as that game was happening?
Oh, man, I was stressed out. That's for sure. I thought it was a lot of fun. You know, that was a fun idea. Go early so we could just sit in the stadium and watch the game. I wanted to take care of everybody. So we got some good pizza delivered.
That's great, man.
Oh, man, some deep dish.
Lou Malnati's.
Lou Malnati's, baby. It was great. It was really good. That was a good time. But yeah, I did. I got a little stressed out. I knew that this is one of those games I was really nervous if they let them kind of hang around, only because belief is a big thing in the league, especially when you're talking about the playoffs, because things are just tight. I don't care how many times you've been there. It's tight, and every little moment matters. And when they started letting them hang around and keep it close, this Panthers team beat you there not that long ago. They believe they can win, and I think it's a tough matchup for them too. I think how the Panthers are built on the outside, Bryce Young's ability to kind of throw some of those little one-on-one balls and give his guys ops, tougher matchup, because you would say, like, if you're going to say where you're going to beat the Rams, it's exposing them in that secondary, and they were able to do it a little bit. Made me nervous, Fitz. I was nervous. I got quiet, had a little bit of sweats. I took the overcoat off. I got nervous, man.
Well, and Tedero McMillan, he's a superstar. He's going to be an absolute superstar. But so the issue that we had with this game is, like, we had to then go on set, and the game was still going on. And so you and Sherm are over there. You've got the phones going. You're anxiously watching.
It's snowing. I'm trying to move my screen. It's snowing. The whole thing. I mean, I'm trying to watch the game. Finally, I gave up, and I just relied on our producer to give us feedback. That was my ploy there. I was like, you know what? I'm going to act like I don't care. I'm going to ignore for a second, and I'm just going to listen to what happens from our producer, because he was kind of giving us the play-by-play.
But your guy, John Wayne, Matthew Stafford, I think you said this on our show, but what was the comment that he made? Devontae was talking about it after the game in the huddle before they got going at the end.
I was sick. You listen to the post-game presser. I mean, Devontae gets up there and they kind of ask him about that last drive, and he goes, man, one of the most cold-blooded things I've ever heard. He's like, Matthew walks up to me and goes, hey, let's go steal their hearts right here. And he was like, I was like, man, just the conviction, his eyes, everything he said it with, he's like, this dude is a bad dude. Like, zero doubt in his mind. Like, I don't care how this game's gone. They think they've won it. They're excited. We're about to go steal their hearts. And he did just that, Fitz. I mean, to think of that drive and really how they set it up and got down there, and then to throw a back shoulder to Colby Parkinson in the game's biggest moment.
Sick.
That throw was, whoo. Yeah. But he's done it all year. I mean, that's just the reality. He really has. And these games moments, we talk about some of the games here at the end of the season that, they had some turnovers and different things. But the one thing Stafford never shies away from, Fitz, is like, we are going to win this game one way or another, because you can blame me. You can say it's my fault. You can say whatever. But I am going to give guys opportunities.
I think that's such an important quality as a quarterback. You want the headline in the paper to be about you the next day. It's either your fault or you're going to be the hero, one of the two, but you're not going to shy away from the moment. And Matthew Stafford certainly has that gene. I want to just talk about Bryce Young real quick because it's been an up and down season. And, Canales and that organization, they've got some decisions to make because, as you know, being the first overall pick, but being a first-round pick in 2023, this is the offseason by May 1st in which they have to decide, will they be picking up his fifth-year option?
Yep.
And what that means is the second they pick up his option, the dollar amount for that fifth year should be about 26 or 27 million. And when they exercise the option, it's fully guaranteed. And so you would say that that's cheap, right? That's cheaper than Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield this offseason. So, hey, why don't they just pick it up? But I was thinking about, has there been a situation where you've been undecided in the quarterback and if you want to hang on to him? And this is what happened with the Packers a couple years ago. Jordan Love had only started one game, and they decided they weren't going to exercise his fifth-year option, but they did sign him to a one-year extension. And I thought it was a genius move in that it gave them a little bit of flexibility. It gave Jordan Love some incentives. So if he played well, he was going to get paid like he should. But it also just let the organization hedge a little bit. He ends up playing great in his first year as a starter. They reward him with a $220 million deal. I wonder if that's something that the Panthers could look in and do with Bryce Young. I would think his agent would say, no way in hell. It's either a fifth-year option or nothing. But what do you think on this situation? Is Bryce Young convinced you that he's worth exercising that option for a fifth year?
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at the job Dave Canellis and them have done. I mean, this team has some belief, and it's shown right here at the end of the year, that when they play their best, like they are a good football team. And it's just the consistency hasn't been there, and a lot of it starts right there at that position. And so to me, I think it's tough when you look across the league, like what are your other options? That's what you have to tell yourself. Like, all right, if we're saying we're moving on from Bryce Young, what are the other options at this current time? I mean, you're not like you're somewhere at the back of the draft. You made the playoffs. So you're not going to have this chance to like draft a really high guy. You probably say, hey, he's done enough to kind of watch him a little bit under my watch to see how he's done. We think of last year, how he ended. This year, he's had some moments. I think that it's find a way to keep him as another couple years. It's not the big commitment. So I do love that. I think that's an interesting idea. The Jordan Love model is pretty cool from that standpoint. Now you've seen plenty of him, different than Jordan Love. The Packers just wanted to see more of Jordan Love.
Yeah.
I think that would probably be a good temporary solution because the other thing we get into, Fitz, and this is going to happen in Miami with Tua's contract. You think of now some of these deals, what will happen with Russell Wilson in Denver. The salary cap is continuing to just skyrocket. So like some of these things we perceive as like, oh man, you can never overcome these mistakes or paying a guy this much for a year or two. Like, dude, they can easily afford giving him a year extension and just saying, hey, even if we end up moving on from him, like we can have another quarterback come in, like they can afford it. So this salary cap now is a much different one than we were used to when it was growing slower. With all the things that have come on with these new TV contracts, there's room for teams to kind of hedge their bets a little bit during this current time.
Yeah, and I think in you saying that just convinced me that I think it was important for Bryce Young to have a good showing in that game against the Rams, but that just convinced me, like, why not pick up the fifth-year option? It's $27 million. If he has a bad year next year, you're not tied to the guy, right? You can let him go, you can trade him, you can do whatever. But I don't know. I don't know with Bryce. It's like he's so hot and cold. It's like I'll see a couple games where he doesn't love playing from the pocket, where he's a little gun shy, likes getting out on the move. And then, you see some games like the one against the Rams where it's like, gosh, this guy, I just have never really seen the first pick overall. Wow, the physical ability of this guy is so special. He's got to win as a processor, and I think he just has to continue to get better with that in the pocket and get more comfortable playing from the pocket.
What's really cool was that I see him against the Rams have some success, and then you play him again and you do kind of something similar, right? In that you have some success, you get things going. So clearly to me, it tells me there's a little bit of a confidence thing here going on. Like when we see this hot, cold, like it's really what you believe. Like it's all of a sudden you play the Rams, you feel confident in throwing some of these one-on-one balls. and you're delivering really good footballs and you're given an opportunity to move down the football field and put them in tough situations. Like, to me, that screams like, man, this guy just struggles a little bit in believing every week and pulling the trigger.
Yeah, and I just got a text. Dan Morgan must be listening to us because they did just they exercised his 5th-year option. So there you go. We don't need a debate about it.
We talked him into it. Good job.
Yeah,
I told you I knew the salary cap thing would get him.
Yeah, I think that it's a good move for them, and it just buys them another year.
Yep.
That's certainly the 5th-year option thing is team friendly, maybe more than player friendly, but
way team friendly. That's for sure.
All right. Well, let's move on to our game. We were just talking about Jordan Love a little bit, and the Packers fully believing in him and giving him that contract. And I thought Jordan had a great year. He obviously had the concussion late. He missed the last 2.5 games. He was going to sit out the last game anyway. But he played really well in that game, man. That first half, he comes out on fire. They score touchdowns on their first 3 drives. He throws touchdown passes on his first 3 drives. I don't know what the hell happened in the second half. I mean, you try to explain that one to me, because the Packers came out and it didn't look like they could gain a yard in that third quarter.
Yeah, it was wild too. I mean, you start to look at it, from a pressure standpoint, the Bears change up a little bit, bringing some more pressures, but they played some man coverage in the first half. They played some man coverage in the second half. Like, they did a lot of similar things. It's just they started having success with it. And I thought that you could see there was some intention when they did try to run it, like, hey, you know what? There was a little bit, if I've said anything, that the Bears looked like they were playing with a little more fire and a little more intensity, like they got challenged, but nothing really schematically they're just blown away with that they did differently. We look at the first half, the Bears didn't execute at all, and the Packers were on fire, and they executed everything they kind of dialed up. I mean, you and Sherm even talked about how well they set up some of the plays in the first half, and just some true awesome play calls from Matt LaFleur and setting them up for success. And then you get to the second half, and it's just you stop executing, and it's not like the Bears were. I mean, think of how many opportunities they actually had in that third quarter to get back in the game. The 4th and 1 interception, like everything. I mean, it was wild, because it's not like one of these games where the Bears got the ball that came out the first drive of the second half, scored a touchdown, and you're like, man, the tide turned. You were like, no, they can't figure out a way to take advantage of any of these opportunities for the first part of the third quarter.
Yeah. And I was sitting there at halftime thinking, my neighbor, who hasn't flown in 16 years, flew out here. I was feeling so bad for him. I'm like, he's just out here, even after the end of the third quarter, watching the Bears get their ass kicked, 21-6 at the end of the third quarter. But then the scene in the green room, that was awesome. That was probably the most fun that we've had, because part of it for us too is you want a great game, because you want people to be tuned in. You want the ratings. You want all of that stuff. And to have the NFL trust us with that game, I mean, we're no dummies. People aren't tuning in to see us. They're tuning in because they want to see good football. So we were just trying to will the Bears to come back in that game. And the last 10 minutes were so much fun, being in there, getting all excited, Sherm running in and out of the room, high-fiving, chest bumping, everybody getting really excited. But Caleb Williams, I made the comment at halftime, because he was talking about it all week, about how he was built for these moments. And, the comment was basically, Caleb has been telling us he's built for these moments. We will see in this second half. And wow, that was special. There's been a lot made of that 4th and 8 throw that he made, running to his left, feet not on the ground. Crazy. And I try to tell people this because, we've talked about, his inaccuracies and he's, not throwing it great on the run. And the amount of velocity this guy can generate on a football when he is on the move is something I have never seen before. It is unbelievable. And so for him to step up in those moments, and look, watching some of these other playoff games, Ben Johnson certainly helped Caleb out. Right. He called a great second half. And I was already at halftime. I had my end of the game speech prepared. I felt like it was a selfish first half by Ben Johnson in terms of that first drive of the game. They do the reverse pass by Cole Kmet. There was some really silly 4th down. We're on our own 35. Like, what are we doing? Like, we're kind of making this game about ourselves is what I was thinking about Ben Johnson. And look, they were going to come out aggressive. He wanted his team to know that he had the ultimate belief and confidence in them. But I thought there were some selfish decisions there in the first half. But look, they played great in the second half. They came back. They won. How about this stat? The Bears, in the 3 games against the Packers this year, have not run a single offensive play with a lead in any of those 3 games. It doesn't even make sense.
That's crazy.
It's
insanity.
Unbelievable. And if you're a Packers fan, you have to be sick about that stat.
It is. That's absolutely sick. And I think it's one of those things like, when you look at these games and you start looking for blame and those kind of things, like I think it's a wild one to me because you can easily say, like in that first half, I thought Matt LaFleur called an awesome game, set the Packers up for success. I think Jordan Love played damn good all game.
Yeah.
There's even some drop balls, some opportunities. Like, man, those are catchable balls in the playoffs.
So let's just say the two throws. So after the Bears took the lead at the end, the 4th and 10 comeback that he threw to the sideline was unbelievable. And then the drop ball, one of them you're alluding to, I kind of want to call it a drop. Christian Watson over the middle at the very end. He reaches one hand out. He can make that play.
Easy.
And if he make that was an unbelievable throw. So
even the Jalen Reed, right? Remember the big crosser that was before that,
and
right? In Jalen's hands. They dropped that one. This is some big plays.
Jaden
Reed, sorry. It's just some plays where I thought Jordan Love played unbelievable football. Like, I think this is a tough one to blame people. You can say, hey, all right, I've heard people talk about clock management and all these things. Like, I think that's so funny.
Timeouts they wasted.
Yeah, a couple timeouts it was, but I also think it's funny because they're like, oh man, they stayed aggressive instead of like worrying about eating clock and all this. But like, we flip that on teams all the time. Like, we always say, oh man, they played passive and they let a team get back in the game because they didn't stay aggressive. Like, you just start to change these narratives just because they lost. I think the reality is Packers played an unbelievable first half. The Bears played an unbelievable second half, took advantage of some opportunities. And this game shook down to a play or two here or there where, man, Christian Watson makes that catch, the Packers win. That's it. Like, that's the reality. He makes that catch, they win. He's right there on the 2-yard line with a chance to win the game. So this thing can come down to the fact that both teams, it was a tale of 2 halves, and the Bears ended up being the team that outlasted them.
Yeah, and I thought important performance for Jordan Love because of last year, because of all the doubt, because of the Eagles game. I can't wait to see what's in store for him next year because he took a big step in my mind this year with the way that he played all year and certainly some of those throws that he made in the game.
What do you think the number we hit, Fitz? We were wondering.
Because I think it's coming out today. I'm gonna text Kaiser right now and see if we can get that number. The record was going to be like north of 27.5 or maybe around 28 million. I think I was really hoping for that 30 million number, so we will see. It's amazing how they calculate this stuff, though.
Yeah, it's insane.
Because I think they can see the amount of devices, concurrent devices that are streaming a game, whether it's a TV or an iPad or a phone. But then it's like they have to find a multiplier. Okay, how many people were watching this game together?
Right.
So hopefully my house pushed that one over the top.
I think your house is the one they're all looking for. All right, they're looking for a lot of Fitzpatrick homes.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to text him. So as we're talking more here, if we get the number, I'll
Fitz,
let you
know. Did a Fitzpatrick officially win a playoff game? Is that how it works? Or
yeah, Fitzpatrick finally won a playoff game. Unfortunately, he went on IR, but we got our first one. John, thank you. That's big. That's big for you, John.
That's huge. Well done, Fitzpatrick. Let's go. We got a Fitzpatrick with a playoff victory, baby.
Oh, that's huge. Dez couldn't do it. Ryan couldn't do it. John did it. Thank you, John.
John did it. Thank you, John.
All right, let's move on to the Bills Jags. I mean, Josh, 28-35, 273 yards, had the passing touchdown, the 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, there's a couple throws in that game that he made. I had 3 plays that were my favorite. Obviously, the last drive, they're having trouble generating big plays through the air, but the post route to Cooks, people don't understand how difficult that is with a free rusher for him to have the trust of when he let that ball go. Brandon Cooks hasn't been on the team very long, so the trust that he had in him, and part of it was like, this is what we have out here, let's do it. But Brandon Cooks has been an ultimate professional his whole career, so awesome to be able to trust him, for him to run that route like he did. There was a play earlier in the game. Josh got the protection set the right way, and he pumped to the flat and threw a hole shot down the sideline to the right to Keon Coleman. That was like, we talk about master class quarterbacking. That play right there, like, that gets me going. That was one of the coolest plays in a moment that they needed it. And then how about that tush push, man? How about the Buffalo bobsled, whatever we're calling it, where he went, though they initially called it a touchdown, but went for 9 yards on that thing. Our guy Saibo picking him up and carrying him a little bit, but speak to Josh's performance, man.
Man, unbelievable. I think what's really cool, what you're seeing out of Josh, especially in this game to me, is even his ability getting the ball out of his hands in times when if that's what Jacksonville wants to give me, I'm going to take advantage of it, throwing it, getting it out, like playing the quarterback position. And like, to me, I think sometimes, he's so spectacular. He's so unbelievable in moments and makes these heroic plays where we just like dismiss when he's actually just playing quarterback and like doing an unbelievable job of it. I think in this game, more than almost any I can think of, like he did an unbelievable job of just playing the quarterback position. What are they giving me? What am I going to take my advantages of? And like you could say, hey, look, Jacksonville's plan was we are giving James Cook nothing in this game, and Josh is going to have to like play quarterback a little bit and trying to just find those little, 3, 4, 5 yard completions, like keep the ball moving. And he did it. And so I think when you combine Josh Allen, and this is kind of what you've said all year, like even when people want to make these narratives about their defense, when you get in the playoffs, and it's about go force a turnover, get a stop on defense. It's not like some all season long narrative about what your defense can or can't do. And you got Josh Allen on the other side, who's now showing that I can absolutely play the quarterback position if that's what you want me to have to do. If you want to let us run it and me play action bomb it over your head all day, if you want me to run around and make heroic Superman plays, I can do that. We can beat you any way you want to play this game. This is why when you say just get Buffalo in the dance, get them a chance to be in the playoffs and see what happens. This is why you now sit here and go, all right, let's do the comparisons of Buffalo versus Denver. And you start going, shoot, they got Josh Allen. They still got a chance. And that's just the truth. When you got a guy who can play it all and do it all, this is why if you're a Buffalo Bill, you think, man, why not us?
Yeah. And I thought, and I think throughout the year, the one thing that was disappointing for me with Josh is it seemed like he had taken a step back with some of the pre-snap stuff, some of the command, getting him in the right play, getting protection set the right way. And this, like I said, maybe it was a week's worth of rest. Maybe it was, them being able to really hunker down and study this film to see what Jacksonville did and take advantage of it. But Josh, before the snap, this last week in Jacksonville is the best he's been all year.
Yep.
And it reminded me, it obviously wasn't the output of that playoff game against New England where they scored 7 touchdowns and 7 possessions, but it reminded me of that version of Josh where he was so locked in before the snap. And that was great to see. And hopefully that continues because they've got a huge challenge in Denver this week, but they are still favored in Denver. So they were favored in Jacksonville, and then it flipped, I think. And before the game, Jacksonville was favored in this game. Trevor Lawrence, the funny back and forth on X about Sherm and Jaguars fans, man. And it's the one concern that Sherm has always had about him is what's going to happen in the biggest moments. And look, I think Trevor took a great step in his career this year. He really did. They played great at the end of the season. He's got a ton of weapons. I was trying to tell you, Parker Washington's a problem. He really showed up in that game. And all of a sudden, they've got a crowded wide receiver room. We kind of forget about the Jags that, Travis Hunter, unfortunately, went down and got hurt this year. But
please tell me he's playing defense next year.
Can we put him on defense? Because I think one of the most important things about defense and again, Sherm and Twitter wars is taking away the ball. Yep. And he would be exceptional at corner with his ball skills of being able to do that. I'm hoping there's more of a focus of him at corner next year because I think this receiver room is crowded and they are loaded on that side of the football. But hopefully Liam Cohen, Trevor Lawrence continue their relationship and continue to get this thing going, because it was a really impressive second half of the season for them.
It was. I mean, the future's bright there. I mean, you look at really what they've been able to do this season under Liam Cohen. There is a lot to be proud of. I think as Miss Lynn Jones told him in his press conference, which has been a lot of topic of conversation the last couple of days, is right. Their heads should be up. They should be proud of really what they did. They changed the standard, the narrative around Jacksonville. That city is proud of that football team. They got a lot to be excited about. When you look at really this organization top to bottom now, from James Glasstone, the GM, down to Liam Cohen, it just feels like there's some unity there where we're going to go build something really special here. And so I think that they should be excited for sure. Trevor took a huge step this year. I think that defensively, you look at it, Travis Hunter, as we just said, man, got to play corner next year. I mean, that's really where Buffalo kind of exposed his team a little bit on the outside. Lots of completions on those guys and just continue to move the football. So I think it's one of those things where I'm interested to see where they go. With this front office Fitz is from the Rams. So, hey, listen, we never know. Trades, big opportunity, big swings. They love it. So they love to do that kind of thing. You even think of how they got Travis Hunter. So, it'll be an interesting offseason to see what they do and what swings they take. I'm excited to see where Jacksonville's going. We need some of these teams, the Chicago, the Jacksonville. We need some of these teams that have struggled in years past to have these big years and start a movement. And this will be an exciting one to follow.
Yeah. And two things I want to touch on before we move to the next game. First, really cool that the Bears and the Bills kind of won on the same play. The old fake screen, throw it down the sideline. And secondly, you got the Bears game right. I picked the Packers. That was the one I missed for the first round of the playoffs.
It's the divisional round of the playoffs, and you know what that means. Win or go home for the biggest games of the year. And big games need big snacks. No game day is complete without Rotel and Velveeta queso dip, the go-to dip for any occasion. All you need are 2 ingredients to make a best-in-class, warm, creamy, delicious queso. Velveeta brings creamy cheesiness, while Rotel brings the tomatoes, peppers, and spices. It's a crowd-pleasing recipe that everyone craves. To find your easy, delicious queso recipe, visit Rotel.com. That's RO-TEL.com.
Moving on to this next game. I got this one right, and you got this one wrong.
You did.
The 49ers. What a gutsy effort they had in being able to knock off the Eagles. What surprised you about this game?
I think it's just the Niners season in general. Like Kyle Shanahan not being a coach of the year, it's just crazy to me. It's absolutely insanity. Like this guy, he should have multiple coach of the year. I think when you think about what he's done with the injuries they've had over the years and where they still get to, that only comes down to culture and belief in a system and who we are. And I think that really they just continue to be a reflection of what a special coach Kyle Shanahan is, what a special player Brock Purdy has been this season. When things have continued to be more on his shoulders, people said, I think back to a couple of years ago, it's like, oh man, let's just see who Brock Purdy is when they're not like fully loaded all the time and blah, 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 blah. And they got all this talent around him. Like, dude continues to be so impressive how he plays the quarterback position and resilient. I mean, you think of how he started the game, how things went early. Dude keeps slinging it. Like he keeps playing aggressive. He keeps saying, I'm going to be a reason we win, to what you just said earlier about Stafford. Like he doesn't care what that headline is tomorrow. He is going to push the ball down the field. He's going to try and be productive in any way possible that gets his team to win a game. I just think it's so unbelievable. You lose Kittle early in this game. You know what I mean? Like, you think of that, like just sick for our guy, George, man. I already shot him a message. Like, couldn't be more of a guy you love and appreciate the dude he is and what he means to that team.
I shot him a message too. He hasn't texted me back or thumbs me up or hearted it. Did he text you back?
No, we're going to probably have to call him now.
Okay.
We might FaceTime him right now, actually.
Okay. My heart was broken, man, for him. But that part of it, like he's the emotional leader of this team. I mean, It's Fred Warner, who they lost, and George Kittle, who they lose in this game. So to have the resiliency to be able to keep it going. Dude, Christian McCaffrey, obviously, like you always got to point out his greatness, but I got to point out my guy. I'm wearing the Harvard hat today. Kyle Juszczyk.
Juszczyk. Oh, my gosh.
He had a game. Yeah, he's always been awesome, and you don't get he gets the credit because he's a Pro Bowler and an All Pro every year. But I think week to week, it's hard to appreciate what he means to this team. But he made some big catches in that game too, which is really cool. And then Juwan Jennings, dime, the 29-yarder,
unbelievable.
And I hope people understand how difficult that catch is that Christian McCaffrey made. He's running down the sideline. This is like you, Whit, and pat and go, but the ball gets blown outside a little bit over your outside shoulder. He's looking straight vertical above his head. I mean, it's an impossible catch to make. And, Christian, time and time again, shows why he's so valuable with his versatility. But he made that one look easy, and that was not an easy catch to make. The Eagles, I mean, I don't know, man. It just was a tough year. It just didn't feel like it was going to be their year. I think a lot of people thought, yeah, but they're scrapping this thing together. Once they get in the playoffs, that defense is so good. They'll get the ground game going. Saquon, has been more productive of late, but they just didn't have it. And I'm really interested to see what happens in the offseason with them, because I think they really got to look themselves in the mirror here. And you're trying, as an organization, you're trying to figure out where did it go wrong? And it's not necessarily pointing fingers, but it's more, how can we improve? How do we get better next year so this doesn't happen? I think a lot of the focus this year has been on Sirianni, it's been on Patullo, and it's been on Jalen Hurts. And so I think there's enough to go around there where they're going to have to take a deep dive. But interested to see how this one plays out in the offseason.
It is, and you can just read into the comments all you want or the emotions, but I mean, seeing Jalen Hurts in the locker room get asked, specifically about his OC, specifically about AJ Brown, and kind of dismiss,
no endorsements,
completely dismiss the questions like, hey, I ain't talking about that because it's just not something I'm like. And you were asked a pretty direct question, so it just doesn't feel good. They need a true, if anybody needs a darkness retreat, Aaron Rodgers style, the Eagles need a darkness retreat. They need to go figure this out. Like, you guys need to go get in a room. And here's the reality. It's like all options are okay. Like, they're all okay. They're going to be okay if they move on from AJ Brown. Like, they have, Devonta Smith. Like, they'll be okay is my point. And I'm not saying AJ Brown's an unbelievable player, but if that's going to be the holdback, that you guys can't get along, or there's like, hey, we're not on the same page, then let's move on. If it's Patullo, if it's Jalen Hurts saying neither one of them, like, they just need to go figure it out. Like, enough of carrying it and like trying to hide it or listen, it's obvious there's issues between all of you. Like, let's figure it out. So like let's just go get it done. I think Howie Roseman's the type of guy, like, he's going to be like, hey man, I want to build a football team. We're playing for the Super Bowl every year, in his mentality. So let's get this out of the way. Whatever needs to happen, let's go make it happen and find the way we put the best football team on the field in 2026. So I think they just need to go get it out of their system and let's figure it out and move on, because there's way too much talent on that football team for them not to be really good.
Yeah. And I think when we're looking at allocating resources, they won the Super Bowl as a bottom 5 passing offense. So to have as much money locked in and 2 receivers, I think they could probably go elsewhere, especially with the style of play that they want to play with, and Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith being a bona fide number 1 receiver as well. If they do decide to move on from AJ Brown, and hopefully, as a Bills fan, he doesn't get traded to the Packers and reunite with Mike Vrabel. That would be
the Patriots,
miserable for the AFC East. One other thing about this game, I want to talk about Brock Purdy, but I want to talk about him kind of as I'm talking about Justin Herbert for the next game we're going to dive into. But I wanted to say, with this Niners-Eagles game, Tom Brady, can we stop with the Pizza Hut commercials? Like, do you need?
I was watching the commercial and I thought to myself, Fitz is going to be like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Here are my 2 issues. How much money is Pizza Hut paying him to do this? I mean, it's got to be $5 million, doesn't it? Like,
when's the last time you think Tom ate fast food type pizza?
That was my other thing.
Delivery
Has
pizza.
He ever had a piece of pizza? I think I would pay a lot of money to watch him sit and have to eat a whole pepperoni pizza from Pizza Hut.
Well, it's like
I
my
think
favorite
that
thing
would
in
be
marketing,
awesome.
though, Fitz, right? Like you go to these seminars, you go to these things the league does, and you're like, oh, it's really important for us to find people who actually embrace, the product and really would be somebody who might use it or whatever. You see Tom Brady. I don't know if there's anything on a Pizza Hut pizza that falls in the Tom Brady diet, whatever that is.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
don't think
so.
there's anything falling in that. So it's just hilarious to see him doing the Pizza Hut commercials. So
Yeah,
good.
that really got me. But they must be paying him a lot of money to do that. And man, he looks a lot different than he used to look. We'll just leave it there. All right. Speaking of his former team, Patriots and the Chargers. All right, Whit, if I told you that Drake Maye would throw a pick in this game, and he will have fumbled twice, only lost one of them, and get sacked 5 times, would you have thought, oh, yeah, Patriots are definitely going to win this game with those numbers?
I would not have. I told you, I thought it was a sneaky game. I thought Justin Herbert could have one of those elite QB games that the talent he has to have, and they could sneak away in this one, but didn't happen.
Didn't happen, man. And I watched the game. Usually I don't watch the all 22 version a ton unless there's like a play I want to see, but I watched the all 22 in this one, and the first half of the game for Justin Herbert was fine. It was a tough game. They're going against a tough defense. They couldn't get much going. But I felt like the 2-minute drill at the end of the half, that's kind of what started the demise of Justin Herbert in this game. He gets sacked on a 2nd down and on a 3rd down. And from there on, they punted the ball away on that series. But it also seemed like they punted away Justin Herbert's confidence. See what I did there, Whit?
Ooh, I like that. Well done.
In the second half, he had a few scrambles early. He missed a throw to Ladd McConkey. He missed a throw to Quentin Johnson down the field. Both of them were short. Look, they would have been huge, great game-changing plays. Can a lot of quarterbacks make that throw? No, but he certainly can, and he didn't. And then, dude, you need to go back and watch the all-22 of this game because that's when the blitzing started from the Patriots. They smelled blood in the water, and he wasn't sure where to look.
Yep.
He wasn't getting any depth on his drops. He was escaping out of the pocket early. He had no trust in their ability to pick anything up, but it was an absolute masterclass by the Patriots defense. The Chargers had 0 answers. 0. They had no idea what was going on. And it was just, they were sending an extra blitzer almost every time. It was like that Rolodex where I don't know if it's Vrabel or the D coordinator sitting over there. They just called a different coverage and a different blitz on every single play. They emptied the chamber. It was unbelievable. And there were 0 answers, like none. Yep. Justin Herbert didn't have any answers. Greg Roman didn't have any answers. It was really hard to watch. They abandoned the run game, so that makes it really difficult on a quarterback. But nothing went. When I tell you, they had 0 response to anything that was happening. And then just to screw around as they're going through the Rolodex, they would rush 4 and do some funky version of Tampa 2, or they would bring cover 0.
Right.
But it was maybe the biggest display I've ever seen of one team and one side of the ball being out-coached by the other team.
Yep.
Masterclass by the Patriots defense. And they were relentless, and they didn't give up. And I don't think I've ever seen it that bad where a team has 0 answers for the pressures that they're getting in the second half of a football game.
Yeah, and that's going to be the question. You're sitting there today as a Chargers fan, and the pressure that you're going to have on Harbaugh is, listen, I know Greg Roman's a friend and all those things, but it just looked like in that game, it showed you man, we need to push the envelope a little bit. Toughness, these narratives of what they want to build is great. But when we get in the game's biggest moments against the great football teams, you got to have an ownership of I got answers for anything you have. You look at it, I remember Sean kind of conveying that Matthew Stafford at the end of that Panthers game. People forget that, Ijero, the defense coordinator for the Panthers, was a Ram, and that defense came, from there. And so he knew every single thing Sean does with protections. He knew every single motion, everything that Sean does offense. They're very close friends. So he's dialing up things to where it's shoot, he knows all the answers. And so Stafford's having to have ownership out there in the moment and like redirect things and change things up. And my point is not that like, oh, I'm expecting Herbert to do that in that situation, but like, all right, as a coordinator, are we pushing mentally to not just have plays that we run, but like, all right, answers at all times. Like, this is what we would do. These are the things, how we'd handle these situations. Like, that game stuck out as this team over here has a Rolodex of things that they can do to stop you, and they're going to bring them all until you show that you can have some kind of answer, and we have no answers. Like, we have no plan. We have like our pressure plan for if this happens instead of this, what is it? It seemed like it didn't exist. And so to me, that's one of those things where you got to say, look, we got this unbelievable talent, Justin Herbert, but how do we push the envelope and say, how do we keep making sure he's getting better? He's out there with a full arsenal of weapons on how he can execute this offense. It's a challenging conversation probably that we got to figure out how we push this offense forward.
Yeah. And this, I want to speak to like why it is so hard to evaluate a quarterback. Let's look at Justin Herbert and let's compare him to Brock Purdy. They're polar opposites.
They look
right?
a little different.
Justin Herbert is 6'6". He's got a rocket arm. He's got the prototype build. He throws lasers to spots that quarterbacks like me could only dream of. But Kyle Van Noy was on our podcast. He said he's got the highest ceiling of any quarterback in the league. Like anybody, including Lamar, including Josh, all of them. And then you look at Purdy. Doesn't have elite size, doesn't have an elite arm. I would say he probably has, below average size, below average arm. Doesn't have elite speed, but he's got instincts. He's got anticipation.
Yeah.
And he has a great feel for the game.
Yep.
So Herbert, he looks like this quarterback you build in the lab.
An amazing
Purdy,
Dougie, don't forget.
And Purdy's got a good Dougie. He can move.
Yep.
But I feel like Purdy looks like an accountant that just so happens to squat 465, for fun. Like, but it's crazy to me, and it's a great lesson in like why the relationship of the play caller and the quarterback matters so much.
Yep.
Because Brock and Kyle Shanahan are a match made in heaven.
Yep.
And the Greg Roman, Justin Herbert display that was put on during the second half of that game, it was really tough. Brock, and you've alluded to this, like he made throws that whole game against the Eagles. And the most important quality a quarterback can have is he's not going to shy away from the moment. He's not going to think about the headlines in the paper the next day. He was going to make damn sure that the reason they lost that game or the reason they won that game was going to be because of him. And he was going to do whatever it took to win the game. He plays with an absence of fear. And I think that's what I love most about Brock. And that's something that has probably been always in him, but Kyle Shanahan has instilled that even more in him. He had 2 balls that were intercepted in a playoff game. Yep. Like, what did he do? He didn't throw checkdowns, Whit. He kept coming back. He kept staying aggressive. He kept believing that he was going to put his team in a position to win the game. Like, that's not easy to find that quality in a quarterback. And I think it was on display, and a huge difference between these two guys on Sunday was the coaching, the preparation, and the mentality. These guys are opposites in the way that they look, and they're also opposites in all of those things. How they're coached, how they prepare, and their mentality when things go wrong in a football game in the biggest stage. Hats off to Brock Purdy for the way that he played, man. Absolutely fearless.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I think when you look at Herbert's season, we talked about it just a couple weeks ago. Like, toughness, awesome. Like, dude played through a lot of crap this year, elevated his game. Like, you wouldn't have said this team would ever make the playoffs after the things they went through early in the season, losing both of his offensive tackles. But I don't know if they would have helped the situation. Maybe have more production offensively because of those guys and ran the football better. But when you look at it schematically, they were just completely had no idea what was going on in the second half of this game. And so I think, to me, you say you're losing no matter what. And that's why it's like, man, we got to figure out, and that's what I mean. It's not that Herbert's not a good football player. We're saying that, yes, he's a hell of a quarterback. But, like, how do we continue to grow? Like, you hear the Staffords of the world, Aaron Rodgers, all these guys as they go on in their career and talk about all the different guys that had impact on them that they got coached by or were around. Like, I just think as an organization, you have to challenge yourself. Like, hey, man, mentally, are we getting the most out of that position and pushing him to understand everything he needs to be out there prepared to handle? And what do we do in a game when this happens? And what are our answers to those things? What are our solutions? I think they got to continue to push if we're prepared to do that. And if we don't have the right guy to do that, we got to move forward and find the right guy for him because it means too much. Like, you've got the quarterback who could take you there, but are you putting him in the best situation possible? Are you coaching confidence and that belief and that mentality into him because you have so many answers? Like, you look at Shanahan, McVay, Ben Johnson, what he's done with Caleb, like, some of that is this coach is continuing to unfold it for me and show me what it all looks like. And now I believe more when I'm out there because I understand more. Sometimes it's not just the play or the thing we drew up. It's that, man, in totality, I trust the things I've been taught, and I now know what to go do in these situations based off what I've been taught. Not just the X's and O's, but the actual belief in who I am and how I play the position the best way possible and put my team in a position to win games. And I think that the Chargers really need to ask themselves if they have the best guy in place to do that with Justin Herbert.
Yeah, and look, they're investing on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, what they've done in the draft over the last 5 years with trying to upgrade the offensive line and the skill positions and everybody around him, like, they're trying to do the right things there. He just needs to continue to push forward in some of the other aspects of the game. And I encourage anybody, if you have, I think you might have to have a subscription, but NFL.com, go look at the game replays and watch the second half of that all 22. It is amazing. If you're a Patriots fan, if you're a fan of defense, like, it's amazing what they did. They were relentless, and I just have not seen many instances where teams haven't had answers like that.
Yeah, hats off to Matt Grable, man. What a team, and man, they were fun to watch. I'll tell you that. Like, they're
did you just call him Matt Vrabel?
Matt Vrabel, Mike Vrabel.
Oh, yeah, I thought his brother was the DC or something.
Yeah, well, Matt LaFleur. There's a lot of M's and brothers and shit going on.
Oh, trust me, it's like Mike McDaniel,
Josh McDaniel or Mike McDaniels or Josh McDaniels and Mike McDaniel.
Yeah,
no, it's Mike McDonald.
Then now we've got James Cook and Brandon Cooks. Like, they're just screwing with us.
I think it is at this point. This is part of the NFL script.
Okay, so just lots of news breaking during our podcast today. We just
got lots of friends. Segment. You get another text?
We just did that whole segment, and I'm looking, and it looks like the Chargers have fired Greg Roman. So Harbaugh must have been listening in on this conversation.
He watched the All-22 for sure.
And look, Greg Roman's had a great coaching career. He's a hell of a coach, but I think this is the right move. They've got to go in a different direction and continue to try to challenge Justin to become better and better, especially before the snap. The stuff we were talking about with Josh and what he was able to do in that Jacksonville game. I think that there's somebody out there that will be able to get the best out of Justin Herbert with all that stuff. Hey, Whit, do you remember what we were talking about the other day?
Oh, about how seeking healthcare isn't always just about physical health?
No, I was thinking about the Bears' fourth quarter comeback, but you've piqued my interest. Go ahead.
Yeah, Fitz, seeking healthcare also impacts how people show up at work, in relationships, and with themselves.
If only something could make it simple to help people regain confidence and start feeling like themselves again, Whit.
Well, good for you to know. Roe makes it simple to get started in your health search with their free insurance checker to help people regain confidence and start feeling like themselves again.
Well, that's a relief.
Well, yes, Roe's insurance checker lets you know if you're covered for GLP-1s for free. No paperwork, no hassle, no waiting on hold.
Well, you certainly know how I hate waiting on hold, Whit.
Yeah, even if you don't have insurance coverage, Roe offers cash pay options for more affordable FDA-approved GLP-1s. These cash pay options ship right to your door. No pharmacy visits required.
No waiting on hold, and they ship right to my door. Andrew! I'm ready to join the over 1 million people who've trusted Roe to check their coverage for free.
Go to ro.co/wit for your free insurance check. That's ro.co/wit to see if your insurance covers GLP-1s for free.
Go to ro.co/safety, ro.co/safety for box warning and full safety information about GLP-1 medications. All right, moving on to the Texans-Steelers game. So, you have played the Steelers enough, especially in Pittsburgh, to where you're always just kind of nervous that it's going to be one of those games. And C.J. Stroud sure tried to make it one of those games early on here. It was amazing that Houston, I think they were up 7-6 at halftime, with just, a calamity of errors. It felt like one of those Steelers games where at the very end they're going to make a field goal and win it. But this Houston defense is relentless, man. They're unbelievable. They're so much fun to watch.
They are ridiculous. Yeah, anytime you go to Pittsburgh, just the aura, the energy of that place, just everything, any game, big game, you just feel like some mistake's going to happen. TJ Watt's getting up on a football or returning a football for a touchdown. Some chaotic play is going to exist. I mean, you forget, Fitz, I once played in a game there where the only offensive touchdown was scored by an offensive lineman. So, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens in Pittsburgh. So I would say this, though, watching that game, God dang, those Texans rushers and that pass rush. I mean, there was a couple plays there where Aaron's like getting folded over backwards because one O-lineman's in the back of his legs. The other one's like getting bulled through the front of his right side as he's trying to release footballs, and he's just going down. And I mean, he took some shots in this game. That group, we've said it, I mean, all year, you picked these guys when they were 0-3 to make the playoffs because of this defense, and they could get it together on offense. And I think the biggest part, too, and it started to kind of show itself around our game that we had with them with the Bills on Thursday Night Football, is Woody Marks. I mean, this dude, he's a good runner, man, and he's really come alive for them. And I think he will be a big part. We forget some of this stretch. He's been a little banged up. But when he's been healthy, I think he's shown to be a guy who's got a little bit of that identity to him as a runner that kind of matches with this Texans team, the physicality, the energy they have. I think they can kind of get around him as kind of that bell cow type back. Like, hey, dude, this is the guy that brings a little energy on the offensive side. Because that's, to me, when I watch the Texans play offense, it's just like, man, come on, somebody. We think of the guys that give teams vibes, like George Kittle at San Francisco. Like, they got Higbee and Puka in L.A. You think of Josh and Kincaid and some of these guys that kind of just bring some juice and some energy to the Bills offense, like Dawson Knox. I mean, it's like you just sit there and go like, man, somebody just do something and act like you're into the game a little bit for the Texans offense. It's just hard to find for them.
Were you're not seeing that out of Trent Brown? Or
I mean, listen, he took up the whole
man.
Listen, when he ran on the side from the sideline, that one clip when they were going to commercial, and it's just him. Like the whole screen is just Trent Brown. I think I texted you and I was like, dude, what do you guys think he weighs right now?
So after you text me that, I was having my girls and my boys and Liza, I was like, look how big this man is. When Whit says a guy is big, he's massive. And I said, look at him compared to the right guard. And he gets in his, I was going to say down in his stance, but he never really gets down in his stance. And you can't see the right guard. Like, I don't know how big their right guard is, but he looks like he's 5'10", 210 pounds next to Trent Brown. Like, that is a massive human being. Before we get too far into this game, though, I want to make sure that we shout out our guy, Aaron Rodgers. Because Aaron, I mean, he's the last guy from my draft class that's playing, 2005. And that just tells you a little bit about how long that he's played. But longevity in this league is so difficult. And I think both of us were really fortunate. I mean, especially you with all the miles on your body to be able to play 16 years. And, for me to get to do it for 17 years. And for him to do it at such an elite level for so long is impossible. I only choose to remember him for his days on the Packers, like the 4 MVPs, the Super Bowl ring, the Super Bowl MVP. His stats are so ridiculous over his career. And I think what really separated Aaron was how he played. He had such a beautiful mind. It was like that effortless release. His ability to throw piss missiles from anywhere. Like, I love talking to Sherm about this. The defense, like, you had to guard every inch of the field. Like, you could never cheat. You could never sit on routes. It didn't matter if you were 70 yards down the field. He would still have the ability to get it there. And then I think what he'll be remembered for on the field as well is he mastered the free play. It was unbelievable. Hard count, flag flies, take a shot, touchdown, masterclass. Aaron Rodgers. He slowed the game down. Like, he made all these impossible throws, and he made them look routine, like every single week. He was so automatic on the back shoulder throw. And the other thing is he did it his way. And while things were great, like, it was easy to love him for doing it his way. Then it got interesting on the Jets for a little bit, and even interesting in Pittsburgh. But I think he really appreciated the year that he was able to have this year. And I also just think, like, whether you love him or not, his personality and kind of what's portrayed in the media, like, if you care about quarterback play, you appreciate what he did and the way that he played. I'm excited to see what the future holds for him because he told us he's going to fade into obscurity. We're never going to see him or hear from him again.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe that one, Whit?
I don't believe that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But hopefully he returns from the deep, dark jungles in 5 years to accept and deliver an unbelievable Hall of Fame speech in Canton, because that's certainly where he's going to end up. I will say I'm not going to miss those like looks of disdain and disgust after every incomplete pass. Like that's been interesting the last few years and gets my blood boiling a little bit. But we are going to miss the Green 18s and the Blue 58. And the thing I think I'm going to miss most, Whit, this is going to mark the death of the single strap cloth chin strap.
It's dead.
Like it's done.
R.I.P.
This is it.
R.I.P. single strap.
Nope. Like Caleb Williams, please. I've asked you before. Bring it back. This is it. Nobody wears that thing anymore. Nobody ever. I mean, Brett Favre did it. Aaron did it. And I think this is now the death of the single strap. But just wanted to get that out of the way and say congrats to Aaron for a great career. I got to imagine he's retiring.
It sure felt like
incredible
it.
stuff. Yeah.
I mean, just even in his post-game presser, got frustrated with some of the questions and just his energy. It feels like that was it. But I also thought one thing I did think was cool is, he never has held back from saying his opinion. That's for sure. Whether you like his opinion or not, you got to appreciate he was always very candid with anything he thought or believed. Now, do I wish he kept some of his disdain for blocking and catching the passes from the media during games as much as he cares about those things, and people hates giving narratives for people to talk? It's like, well, then, you're always on the screen saying like, do your job or block people or whatever. I hated that part, but I loved, the honesty he always gave when he was behind a microphone of what he thought. And I thought it was really cool. I don't know if you saw this morning, Matt LaFleur talked about how much it meant to him, but last night he talked about after the game, honestly, just how ridiculous it is that Matt LaFleur is being discussed as like firing him because of what he's done in Green Bay and what he's been able to accomplish. And he's, the growth of Jordan Love. I mean, we sometimes just make it about wins, losses, and then we're like, give all this credit to where Jordan Love is in his career. And it's like, you just dismiss that Matt LaFleur had anything to do with that and the play caller he was. And is, and then Mike Tomlin, and he kind of vouched for both those guys. I thought it was cool for him to use that platform to make sure people knew where he stood. Sometimes I don't care for some of those things, but that one was cool for you to kind of stand up and make sure, not just that Mike, your current coach, but hey, make sure you understand where I really stand, regardless of where you guys think our relationship is. I think Matt LaFleur is an unbelievable football coach, and it's ridiculous that we live in a time where this guy's done what he's done in Green Bay and the success they've been able to have year in and year out, and you guys want to get rid of him.
Yeah, there will be plenty of teams, if that happens, that will be very happy with the Green Bay Packers and their decision. And again, we got to give a shout out to LaFleur keeping it tight, that haircut. I don't know if it's twice a week that he's getting it, but gosh, it looks good.
Guy's always trimmed.
Mike Tomlin, I don't know. There's been rumors swirling about him, but I'm curious to get your take on what you think he does.
Well, listen, Fitz, not to just, try to one-up you. I know you got a couple of cool texts on this pod while we were doing it. Right, fresh off the press, buddy. All right, I just got a text. Mike Tomlin just stepped down. Just stepped down.
Did he
right
really?
Now. Just stepped down. Yeah.
Mike,
he did it.
So he's going. What's he doing?
Yeah, listen. Well, here's the thing. What can't he do is the problem. I mean, the guy has shown that he is a winner. He's shown what an unbelievable football coach he is. But here's the reality. I mean, Mike Tomlin, talking about options. You think that people don't want him in a broadcast booth next season? Do you think people don't want him I could see him on the set of Fox, like with that crew? I know him and Glazer are tight. Like, he's going to get offered a lot of money to do a lot of different things. And that's just the reality. So listen, Mike T has never gave a shit about what you think, I think, or anybody else thinks. So I can promise you he ain't out here doing something to prove it to anybody. So if anybody think, he'll want to go somewhere else and prove, he ain't driven like that. He'll either be into, I want to go somewhere and build a culture and a standard and win football games, or I'm going to go chill, get paid a lot of money, and talk about a game that's really awesome and that he loves. So I'm excited because whatever he does, one thing you can bet on it, it's going to be full throttle, and he's going to give two shits what any of us think about it.
And I just, we're not doing this on purpose. We're not bullshitting you. I swear to God, everything that is being released right now is like we're talking about it and we're hearing about it as it's happening. It's
We're in a good window right now. This is awesome.
But so yeah, now I mean we're woefully unprepared to talk about the Steelers and what the future looks like there. But no Mike T, who goes there? Probably no Aaron Rodgers.
But think of that roster, Fitz. I mean, you got Cam Hayward. What is he doing? Is he coming back?
Well, that's what I say. The highest paid defense. You're aging on defense.
Yeah.
Like, what is going to happen there, Whit?
Woo. Yeah, that's a bigger puzzle than I think people give it respect to. Like, it's like, hey, all right, well, maybe they should split because of this time. Like I was asked this question this week about my time with Marvin Lewis, and we went to the playoffs 5 straight years, and you lose in the first round every year, and you start to have that frustration and that narrative, and that's what's happened in Pittsburgh. And it's like, you know what I said, some parts of that free agency experience for me were like, man, all I've ever thought is I'm frustrated as shit that we've never won a playoff game, but like I'll end my career here in Cincinnati. And then you get into free agency and you start to think about yourself other places, and you're like, man, that kind of is invigorating. Like there's almost a new me, a new energy going to some of these places thinking about that. And then you get there and it's that way. And I played a whole lot longer than I thought I would have. I mean, with Mike Tomlin, like it could be that way. It could be, hey man, listen, we're all frustrated with each other. Best thing for us to do is probably go our separate ways. And he goes somewhere else and gets a new invigoration to keep doing it. It could happen.
I think he is more likely to do the old Sean Payton, let's get into TV for a year, realize, man, I belong on a football field. I can't do this shit.
Well, and also pick, right? Like do you think he feels like he needs to be in a rush? I mean, Mike T's going to be like, F y'all, I'll wait, see the best job out there, and then I'll go get it.
And I was just trying to look it up to make sure I was getting the facts right, but I think so. So Harbaugh's gone 18 seasons in Baltimore, and now Tomlin 19 seasons in Pittsburgh are both gone, turning the AFC North on its head. A lot of uncertainty there now. Wow, too bad we're not breaking news because people aren't going to listen to this till tomorrow. But this has been a fun pod.
It's fun
man.
It's fun to like find this stuff out in the freaking moment. What an insane experience.
I'm still waiting on the number from Kaiser. It looks like it's not going to be released before we're done with this, unfortunately. But I think there's no doubt we're hitting over 30 million. We're going to hit over 30 million. It's going to be awesome. But we'll see. We'll see. What about Big Whit Energy? We got anybody for this week?
Oh, man, come on, Fitz. You think anybody's going to get it other than the Josh Allen sneak? Maybe the longest tush push ever. I mean, what are we calling it? What do they call it? The Buffalo what?
I don't know. The snow plow. Yeah. Who knows? The bulldozer.
We only know one snow. That's big snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't chirp. It's not my thing.
Hey, so but are you giving that to Saibo or are you giving it to the whole O-line?
We're going to give it to the whole O-line. I haven't got a chance. Maybe we just give it to Aaron Cromer. Damn it. Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, let's give it to Aaron Cromer.
Let's give it to Chrome. Chrome! Big Whit Energy, baby. Let's go.
What a guy, man.
Big Chrome. Let's go, baby.
Well, Chrome, we need you to step it up again this week. We need to be able to run that ball versus Denver, baby. Nice. So that's our first Big Whit Energy to an actual coach.
Yeah, I don't know how that categorizes itself, but I know you argue with these things.
I don't know what the back and forth was on that play. So they had that play. They called a touchdown. He was down. Like, why are we not taking a knee, wasting 40 seconds of the clock? Like that, the clock management for Buffalo at the end of that game. Trust me, I'm on plenty of text chains with my Bills buddies, and it was not pretty when they scored and didn't take a knee or just at least putz around so they could waste another 40 seconds. And knowing the Bills fans and the history and all the heartbreak they've been through, they were sure that Trevor Lawrence was going to do something. A ball was going to hit off a helmet. Jaguars were going to go down and score because why not? We're used to heartbreak in Buffalo. But damn it, this is a new year, Whit. And that proved
new year,
it right
baby.
there. Picking off that first pass, taking away all the consternation and all the angst that Buffalo Bills fans had. And now we are on to Denver, baby.
On to Denver, baby.
All right, that's it for us, but we'll see you tomorrow when Chris Long joins the show to help us preview the divisional round. And, of course, we'll be back next week with all the biggest news from those special divisional games, baby. Fitz and Whit is a Wave original. Thanks to our production crew, and thanks again to all you beardos for tuning in. See you next time. Peace.
Peace.